Welcome to week 12 for our Bible in 52 weeks Bible study for women. Blessed or cursed. That is the title of the Bible study. We're going to try to push all the way through to day 5, leading up to the actual Bible study portion. So we're going to read through Deuteronomy 16 to 21, and then we'll take a pause and read through Psalms 18 to 21. So let's get into it. All the way to 21. Okay. Deuteronomy 16. The Passover. Observe the month of Aviv and celebrate the Passover of the Lord your God, because in the month of Aviv he brought you out of Egypt by night. Sacrifice as the Passover to the Lord your God an animal from your flock or herd at the place the Lord will choose as a dwelling for his name. Do not eat it with bread made with yeast, but for 7 days eat unleavened bread, the bread of affliction, because you left Egypt in haste, so that all the days of your life you may remember the time of your departure from Egypt. Let no yeast be found in your possession in all your land for 7 days. Do not let any of the meat you sacrifice on the evening of the first day remain until morning. You must not sacrifice the Passover in any town the Lord your God gives you, except in the place he will choose as a dwelling for his name. There you must sacrifice the Passover in the evening when the sun goes down on the anniversary of your departure from Egypt. Roast it and eat it at the place the Lord your God will choose. Then in the morning return to your tents. For 6 days eat unleavened bread, and on the 7th day hold an assembly to the Lord your God and do no work. The Festival of Weeks. Count off 7 weeks from the time you begin to put the sickle to the standing grain. Then celebrate the Festival of Weeks to the Lord your God by giving a free will offering in proportion to the blessings the Lord your God has given you. And rejoice before the Lord your God at the place he will choose as a dwelling for his name. You, your sons and daughters, your male and female servants, the Levites in your towns, and the foreigners, the fatherless and the widows living among you. Remember that you were slaves in Egypt, and follow carefully these decrees. The Festival of Tabernacles. Celebrate the Festival of Tabernacles for 7 days after you have gathered the produce of your threshing floor and your winepress. Be joyful at your festival, you, your sons and daughters, your male and female servants, and the Levites, the foreigners, the fatherless, and the widows who live in your towns. For 7 days celebrate the festival to the Lord your God at the place the Lord will choose. For the Lord your God will bless you in all your harvest and in all the work of your hands, and your joy will be complete. 3 times a year, all your men must appear before the Lord your God at the place he will choose, at the festival of unleavened bread, the festival of weeks, and the festival of tabernacles. No one should appear before the Lord empty-handed. Each of you must bring a gift in proportion to the way the Lord your God has blessed you. Judges. Appoint judges and officials for each of your tribes in every town the Lord your God is giving you, and they shall judge the people fairly. Do not pervert justice or show partiality. Do not accept a bribe, for a bribe blinds the eyes of the wise and twists the words of the innocent. Follow justice and justice alone, so that you may live and possess the land the Lord your God is giving you. Do not set up any wooden Asherah pole beside the altar you build to the Lord your God, and do not erect a sacred stone, for these the Lord your God hates. Deuteronomy chapter 17. Do not sacrifice to the Lord your God an ox or a sheep that has any defect or flaw in it, for that would be detestable to him. If a man or woman living among you is in one of the towns the Lord gives you is found doing evil in the eyes of the Lord your God in violation of his covenant and contrary to my command, has worshipped other gods, bowing down to them or to the sun or the moon or the stars in the sky, and this has been brought to your attention, then you must investigate it thoroughly. If it is true, and it has been proved that this detestable thing has been done in Israel, take the man or woman who has done this evil deed to your city gate and stone that person to death. On the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses, a person is to be put to death, and no one is to be put to death on the testimony of only one witness. The hands of the witness must be the first in putting that person to death, and then the hands of all the people. You must purge the evil from among you. Law courts. If cases come before your courts that are too difficult for you to judge, whether bloodshed, lawsuits, or assaults, take them to the place the Lord your God will choose. Go to the Levitical priest and to the judge who is in office at that time. Inquire of them, and they will give you the verdict. You must act according to the decisions they give you at the place the Lord will choose. Be careful to do everything they instruct you to do. Act according to whatever they teach you and the decisions they give you. Do not turn aside from what they tell you to the right or to the left. Anyone who shows contempt for the judge or for the priest who stands ministering there to the Lord your God is to be put to death. You must purge the evil from Israel. All the people will hear and be afraid and will not be contemptuous again. The king. When you enter the land the Lord your God is giving you and have taken possession of it and settled in it, and you say, "Let us set a king over us like all the nations around us," be sure to appoint over you a king the Lord your God chooses. He must be from among your fellow Israelites. Do not place a foreigner over you, one who is not an Israelite. The king, moreover, must not acquire great numbers of horses for himself, or make the people return to Egypt to get more of them. For the Lord has told you, you are not to go back that way again. He must not take many wives, or his heart will be led astray. He must not accumulate large amounts of silver and gold. When he takes the throne of his kingdom, he is to write for himself on a scroll a copy of this law, taken from that of the Levitical priests. It is to be with him, and he is to read all the days of his life, so that he may learn to revere the Lord his God and follow carefully all the words of this law and these decrees, and not consider himself better than his fellow Israelites, and turn from the law to the right or to the left. Then he and his descendants will reign a long time over his kingdom in Israel. Deuteronomy chapter 18. Offerings for priests and Levites. The Levitical priests, indeed the whole tribe of Levi, are to have no allotment or inheritance with Israel. They shall live on the food offerings presented to the Lord, for that is their inheritance. They shall have no inheritance among their fellow Israelites. The Lord is their inheritance, as he promised them. This is the share due the priests from the people who sacrifice a bull or a sheep, the shoulder, the internal organs, and the meat from the head. You are to give them the first fruits of your grain, new wine, and olive oil, and the first wool from the shearing of your sheep. For the Lord your God has chosen them and their descendants out of all your tribes to stand and minister in the Lord's name always. If a Levite moves from one of your towns anywhere in Israel where he is living and comes in all earnestness to the place the Lord will choose, he may minister in the name of the Lord his God, like all his fellow Levites who serve there in the presence of the Lord. He is to share equally in their benefits, even though he has received money from the sale of family possessions. Occult practices. When you enter the land the Lord your God is giving you, do not learn to imitate the detestable ways of the nations there. Let no one be found among you who sacrifices their son or daughter in the fire, who practices divination or sorcery, interprets omens, engages in witchcraft or casts spells, or who is a medium or spiritist who consults the dead. Anyone who does these things is detestable to the Lord. Because of these same detestable practices, the Lord your God will drive out those nations before you. You must be blameless before the Lord your God. The prophet. The nations you will dispossess, listen to those who practice sorcery or divination. But as for you, the Lord your God has not permitted you to do so. The Lord your God will raise up for you a prophet like me from among you, from your fellow Israelites. You must listen to him, for this is what you asked of the Lord your God at Horeb on the day of the assembly, when you said, "Let us not hear the voice of the Lord our God, nor see this great fire anymore, or we will die." The Lord said to me, "What they say is good. I will raise up for them a prophet like you from among their fellow Israelites, and I will put my words in his mouth. He will tell them everything I command him. I myself will call to account anyone who does not listen to my words that the prophet speaks in my name. But a prophet who presumes to speak in my name anything I have not commanded, or a prophet who speaks in the name of other gods, is to be put to death. You may say to yourselves, how can we know when a message has not been spoken by the Lord? If what a prophet proclaims in the name of the Lord does not take place or come true, that is a message the Lord has not spoken. That prophet has spoken presumptuously, and so do not be alarmed. Yes, always test these people. Just sit back and watch. If nothing happens, they are not from the Lord. You will know them by their fruits, and the sheep know his voice. So, just for those that are listening, this is Moses giving people instruction. So, because we're in Deuteronomy, which is not far from Exodus, it kind of goes into further into the Israelites listening to instruction by Moses, which is coming from God. Okay. Deuteronomy chapter 19. Cities of refuge. When the Lord your God has destroyed the nations whose land he is giving you, and when you have driven them out and settled in their towns and houses, then set aside for yourselves 3 cities in the land the Lord your God is giving you to possess. Determine the distances involved and divide into 3 parts the land the Lord your God is giving you as an inheritance, so that a person who kills someone may flee for refuge to one of these cities. This is the rule concerning anyone who kills a person and flees there for safety. Anyone who kills a neighbor unintentionally without malice aforethought. For instance, a man may go into the forest with his neighbor to cut wood, and as he swings his axe to fell a tree, the head may fly off and hit his neighbor and kill him. That man may flee to one of these cities and save his life. Otherwise, the avenger of blood might pursue him in a rage, overtake him if the distance is too great, and kill him even though he is not deserving of death. Since he did it to his neighbor without malice aforethought, this is why I command you to set aside for yourselves 3 cities. If the Lord your God enlarges your territory as he promised on oath to your ancestors and gives you the whole land he promised them, because you carefully follow all these laws, I command you today to love the Lord your God and to walk always in obedience to him. Then you are to set aside 3 more cities. Do this so that innocent blood will not be shed in your land, which the Lord your God is giving you as an inheritance, so that you will not be guilty of bloodshed. But if out of hate someone lies in wait, assaults and kills a neighbor, and then flees to one of these cities, the killer shall be sent for by the town elders, be brought back from the city, and be handed over to the avenger of blood to die. Show no pity. You must purge from Israel the guilt of shedding innocent blood, so that it may go well with you. Do not move your neighbor's boundary stone to set up by your predecessors in the inheritance you receive in the land the Lord your God is giving you to possess. Witnesses. 1 witness is not enough to convict anyone accused of any crime or offense they may have committed. A matter must be established by the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses. If a malicious witness takes the stand to accuse someone of a crime, the 2 people involved in the dispute must stand in the presence of the Lord before the priest and the judges who are in office at the time. The judges must make a thorough investigation, and if the witness proves to be a liar, giving false testimony against a fellow Israelite, then do to the false witness as the witness intended to do to the other party. You must purge the evil from among you. The rest of the people will hear of this and be afraid, and never again will such an evil thing be done among you. Show no pity. Life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. Now, of course, we don't do that anymore. Jesus talks about this later in Matthew. We're not reading that today, but that's not how we're doing it today. Deuteronomy chapter 20, going to war. When you go to war against your enemies and see horses and chariots and an army greater than yours, do not be afraid of them, because the Lord your God, who brought you up out of Egypt, will be with you. When you are about to go into battle, the priest shall come forward and address the army. He shall say, Hear, Israel. Today you are going into battle against your enemies. Do not be faint-hearted or afraid. Do not panic or be terrified by them, for the Lord your God is the one who goes with you to fight for you against your enemies to give you victory. The officers shall say to the army, Has anyone built a new house and not yet begun to live in it? Let him go home, or he may die in battle and someone else may begin to live in it. Has anyone planted a vineyard and not begun to enjoy it? Let him go home, or he may die in battle and someone else enjoy it. Has anyone become pledged to a woman and not married her? Let him go home, or he may die in battle and someone else marry her. Then the officer shall add, Is anyone afraid or faint-hearted? Let him go home so that his fellow soldiers will not become disheartened too. When the officers have finished speaking to the army, they shall appoint commanders over it. Now, that particular portion actually reminds me when I watched the animated film Walls of Jericho, when Joshua was speaking to the people on the battlefield to not be afraid, not be disheartened, and strongly, I believe, just reading from this text, that faith had a lot to do with how God gave the enemy into their hands. You know, you have to have no fear. You cannot have any doubt, you can't be faithless. You have to have faith. You have to believe and know that the Lord is going to give you the victory, because God can do anything. He can do all things. He can do impossible things. And when the Israelites started out, it wasn't a whole lot of them going up against the different areas and taking over. But over time, they eventually got more and more and more. But even so, God made sure that it wasn't going to be numbers that determined their victory. It wasn't going to be anything that they could boast over, their weaponry. It had nothing to do with that. God just, He's so amazing. He shows us time and time again that it doesn't matter what the circumstances look like. He will use anyone and anything for His glory. And I want to be on that boat where I'm like, I know God's got me. And I can say that with confidence because He's shown me over and over again in this Bible, in my life, in other people's lives, other people's testimonies. He has shown us how much more can He prove to us that He is the God of the impossible. So, no matter how dire your situation may look, whatever season you may be in, just know that God is still with you. He hasn't left. He hasn't forsaken you. Lean on Him. And we shouldn't just lean on Him when things are bad. We should lean on Him regardless. You could have a really good season, but don't get arrogant. Don't feel like, well, I got it now. I'm good now, God. Thanks. Don't do that. Lean on Him in everything. Everything. He wants to take you step by step. There are times where He may say, wait. There are times He may say, be still. And we have to rejoice even in the waiting season, because that means He's taking care of whatever is ahead of us. God goes before us. Yeah, I just wanted to point that out while we were reading it. Deuteronomy chapter 20, verse 10, picking back up. When you march up to attack a city, make its people an offer of peace If they accept and open their gates, all the people in it shall be subject to forced labor and shall work for you. If they refuse to make peace and they engage you in battle, lay siege lay siege to that city. When the Lord your God delivers it into your hand, put the sword to put the sword all the men in it. As for the women, the children, the livestock, and everything else in the city, you may take these as plunder for yourselves. You may use the plunder the Lord your God gives you from your enemies. This is how you are to treat all the cities that are at a distance from you and do not belong to the nations nearby. However, in the cities of the nations the Lord your God is giving you as an inheritance, do not leave alive anything that breathes. Completely destroy them: the Hittites, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivitites, and Jebusites, as the Lord your God has commanded you. Otherwise, they will teach you to follow all the detestable things they do in worshiping their gods, and you will sin against the Lord your God. When you lay siege to a city for a long time, fighting against it to capture it, do not destroy its trees by putting an axe to them, because you can eat their fruit. Do not cut them down. Are the trees people that you should besiege them? However, you may cut down trees that you know are not fruit trees and use them to build siege works until the city at war with you falls. Deuteronomy chapter 21. Atonement for an unsolved murder. If someone is found slain, lying in a field in the land the Lord your God is giving you to possess, and it is not known who the killer was, your elders and judges shall go out and measure the distance from the body to the neighboring towns. Then the elders of the town nearest the body shall take a heifer that has never been worked and has never worn a yoke, and lead it down to a valley that has not been plowed or planted, and where there is a flowing stream. There in the valley they are to break the heifer's neck. The Levitical priests shall step forward, for the Lord your God has chosen them to minister and to pronounce blessings in the name of the Lord, and to decide all cases of dispute and assault. Then all the elders of the town nearest the body shall wash their hands over the heifer whose neck was broken in the valley, and they shall declare, our hands did not shed this blood, nor did our eyes see it done. Accept this atonement for your people Israel, whom you have redeemed. Lord, and do not hold your people guilty of the blood of an innocent person. Then the bloodshed will be atoned for, and you will have purged from yourselves the guilt of shedding innocent blood, since you have done what is right in the eyes of the Lord. Marrying a captive woman. When you go to war against your enemies, and the Lord your God delivers them into your hands, and you take captives, and if you notice among the captives a beautiful woman and are attracted to her, you may take her as your wife, bring her into your home, and have her shave her head, trim her nails, and put aside the clothes she was wearing when captured. After she has lived in your house and mourned her father and mother for a full month, then you may go to her and be her husband, and she shall be your wife. If you are not pleased with her, let her go wherever she wishes. You must not sell her or treat her as a slave, since you have dishonored her. The right of the firstborn. If a man has two wives, He loves one but not the other, and both bear him sons, but the firstborn is the son of the wife who he does not love. Then he wills his property to his sons. He must not give the rights of the firstborn to the son of the wife he loves in preference to his actual firstborn, the son of the wife he does not love. He must acknowledge the son of his unloved wife as the firstborn by giving him a double share of all he has. That son is the first sign of his father's strength. The right of the firstborn belongs to him. A rebellious son. If someone has a stubborn and rebellious son who does not obey his father and mother and will not listen to them when they discipline him, his father and mother shall take a hold of him and bring him to the elders at the gate of his town. They shall say to the elders, "This son of ours is stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey us. He is a glutton and a drunkard." Then all the men of his town are to stone him to death. You must purge the evil from among you. All Israel will hear of it and be afraid. Various laws. If someone guilty of a capital offense is put to death and their body is exposed on a pole, you must not leave the body hanging on the pole overnight. Be sure to bury it the same day, because anyone who is hung on a pole is under God's curse. You must not desecrate the land the Lord your God is giving you as an inheritance. We'll go ahead and read some of the things here from the Bible study. Moses gave the people laws on incest, murder, and adultery, fornication, inheritance, discipline of children, and social responsibilities. This is going all the way into 22, but we're not doing 22 today, or not right now. Observation. God gives us principles that we should honor, the ones here regarding marriage related to premarital sexual purity. Inspiration. The Bible is the story of two gardens, Eden and Gethsemane. In the first, Adam took a fall. In the second, Jesus took a stand. In the first, God sought Adam. In the second, Jesus sought God. In Eden, Adam hid from God. In Gethsemane, Jesus emerged from the tomb. In Eden, Satan led Adam to a tree that led to his death. From Gethsemane, Jesus went to a tree that led to our life. Satan was never invited to the Garden of Eden. He did not belong there. He was not wanted there. He slithered as a snake into God's garden and infected God's children. That's all he's done since. Hasn't he entered a few of your holy gardens? We even call it holy matrimony. The word altar implies the presence of God. Marriage was God's idea. The first wedding occurred in the first garden, but that doesn't make any difference to the devil. He sneaks his way into every home with one desire: to destroy. Sexual intimacy is God's gift. Virginity is a rose plucked from the garden, given by God and intended to be shared with your forever partner. Satan mocks such loyalty. He is the father of incest and abuse. He is the author of immorality. He is the pimp of the garden. Ooh, not pimp. Okay. We give sacred oaths and make solemn promises. We vow to be a good parent, a true companion, and a loyal friend. But Satan's head turns when he hears a pledge. We'll see about that. The father of lies smirks. In God's eyes, a child is holy. The innocence of youth, the freshness of childhood, the joy of an infant. There was never a moment when Jesus turned away a child, but there has never been a child Satan didn't despise. He was killing babies to kill Moses. He was destroying infants to destroy Christ. His tactics haven't changed. No, you're good. You're good. That was my face, really. His tactics haven't changed. Millions of babies are still aborted. Thousands of children are abused. Jesus said of Satan, he was a murderer from the beginning. John chapter 8, verse 44. Is there a realm untouched by Satan? Is there a place unscarred by his sword? The church, the government, children, purity, promises? And you and me, we are called to be holy. We are made to be holy, set apart for his good work. We are the prized flowers of the garden. But is there one person who has not felt the foot of the intruder? What Satan did in Eden, he does today. For that reason, we need to know what Jesus did in Gethsemane. He does today. He reclaims the holy. He will not long sit silent while Satan strip mines the sacred. At the right moment, Jesus stands and speaks. And when he stands and speaks, Satan stumbles and is silent. Here's the application. Are there areas in your life that Satan has taken hold of that need to be reclaimed? Don't let anything or anyone stand in the way of your leading a holy life. If you feel like you're in bondage, get help. See a pastor, friend, or counselor. Let them hold you accountable in the pursuit of holiness. Much agreed. We are called to be holy. This is not the time to follow trends. This is not the time to do what the world is doing. We are so close to the end times. Do not get caught up in what the world is doing. Make sure you're doing your research before you just go and buy something that's trending. Make sure you're looking up the symbols that are on these labels, like the packaging and like all that stuff. Like, we don't realize a lot of the stuff that we support simply just from buying it. Like, I remember I had bought some tea and I didn't think about it. I forgot. I wasn't paying attention. I bought a pack of tea and on the side was telling me how to do yoga stuff. I was like, oh, no, gotta throw it out. The Lord does not want detestable items in your home. He doesn't want you to support financially detestable items. He doesn't want that in your life. He wants you to live holy. He wants you to just be aware. Be aware, pay attention. And it says in the Bible as well, his people perish due to lack of knowledge. There are certain things that we have to pay attention to and not just let any and everything be okay. Pay attention to the things that your children watch. Pay attention to the music that they're listening to. Pay attention. Because when we don't pay attention, we lose sight and we get lost in what the world is doing. Okay, so since I'm going to come back to this area, I don't think that's what is over here. Corinthians, okay. So I'm going to save my place. We're going to come back to this, but we're going to go into Psalms. And I already feel like I went too far. Yeah, I definitely went too far. All right. And we're going into Psalms 18 to 21. Okay. I'm getting there. Hey, I did have it marked. That's funny. Okay. All right. Psalm 18. For the director of music of David, the servant of the Lord. He sang to the Lord the words of this song when the Lord delivered him from the hand of all his enemies and from the hand of Saul. He said, I love you, Lord, my strength. The Lord is my rock, my fortress, and my deliverer. My God is my rock, in whom I take refuge, my shield and the horn of my salvation, my stronghold. I called to the Lord, who is worthy of praise, and I have been saved from my enemies. The cords of death entangled me. The torrents of destruction overwhelmed me. The cords of the grave coiled around me. The snares of death confronted me. In my distress, I called to the Lord. I cried to my God for help. From his temple he heard my voice. My cry came before him into his ears. The earth trembled and quaked. All the foundations of the mountains shook. They trembled because he was angry. Smoke rose from his nostrils. Consuming fire came from his mouth. Burning coals blazed out of it. He parted the heavens and came down. Dark clouds were under his feet. He mounted the cherubim and flew. He soared on the wings of the wind. He made darkness his covering, his canopy around him, the dark rain clouds of the sky. Out of the brightness of his presence, clouds advanced, with hailstones and bolts of lightning. The Lord thundered from heaven. The voice of the Most High resounded. He shot his arrows and scattered the enemy. With great bolts of lightning, he routed them. The valleys of the sea were exposed, and the foundations of the earth laid bare at your rebuke, Lord, at the blast of breath from your nostrils. He reached down from on high and took hold of me. He drew me out of deep waters. He rescued me from my powerful enemy, from my foes who were too strong for me. He confronted me in the day of my disaster, but the Lord was my support. He brought me out into a spacious place. He rescued me because he delighted in me. The Lord has dealt with me according to my righteousness. According to the cleanness of my hands, he has rewarded me. For I have kept the ways of the Lord. I am not guilty of turning from God. All his laws are before me. I have not turned away from his decrees. I have been blameless before him and have kept myself from sin. The Lord has rewarded me according to my righteousness, according to the cleanness of my hands in his sight. To the faithful, you show yourself faithful. To the blameless, you show yourself blameless. To the pure, you show yourself pure. But to the devious, you show yourself shrewd. You save the humble, but bring low to those whose eyes are haughty. You, Lord, keep my lamp burning. My God turns my darkness into light. With your help, I can advance against a troop. With my God, I can scale a wall. As for God, his way is perfect. The Lord's word is flawless. He shields all who take refuge in him. For who is God besides the Lord? And who is the rock except our God? It is God who arms me with strength and keeps my way secure. He makes my feet like the feet of a deer. He causes me to stand on the heights. He trains my hands for battle. My arms can bend a bow of bronze. You make your saving help my shield, and your right hand sustains me. Your help has made me great. You provide a broad path for my feet, so that my ankles do not give way. I pursued my enemies and overtook them. I did not turn back till they were destroyed. I crushed them so that they could not rise. They fell beneath my feet. You armed me with strength for battle. You humbled my adversaries before me. You made my enemies turn their backs in flight, and I destroyed my foes. They cried for help, but there was no one to save them. To the Lord, but he did not answer. I beat them as fine as wind-blown dust. I trampled them like mud in the streets. You have delivered me from the attacks of the people. You have made me the head of nations. People I did not know now serve me. Foreigners cower before me. As soon as they hear of me, they obey me. They all lose heart. They come trembling from their strongholds. The Lord lives. Praise be to my rock. Exalted be God, my Savior. He is the God who avenges me, who subdues nations under me, who saves me from my enemies. You exalted me above my foes. From a violent man you rescued me. Therefore I will praise you, Lord, among the nations. I will sing the praises of your name. He gives his king great victories. He shows unfailing love to his anointed, to David and his descendants forever. So good. I'm going to actually put that down for encouragement. I like Psalms 91 for if you're feeling fearful, but that's really good for encouragement. If you want to take that as a note as well. Strength and encouragement. All right. Psalm 19. For the director of music, a psalm of David. The heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the work of his hands. Day after day they pour forth speech. Night after night they reveal knowledge. They have no speech. They use no words. No sound is heard from them. Yet their voice goes out into all the earth, their words to the ends of the world. In the heavens, God has pitched a tent for the sun. It is like a bridegroom coming out of his chamber, like a champion rejoicing to run his course. It rises at one end of the heavens and makes its circuit to the other. Nothing is deprived of its warmth. The law of the Lord is perfect, refreshing the soul. The statutes of the Lord are trustworthy, making wise the simple. The precepts of the Lord are right, giving joy to the heart. The commands of the Lord are radiant, giving light to the eyes. The fear of the Lord is pure, enduring forever. The decrees of the Lord are firm, and all of them are righteous. They are more precious than gold, than much pure gold. They are sweeter than honey from the honeycomb. By them your servant is warned. In keeping them there is a great reward. But who can discern their own errors? Forgive my hidden faults. Keep your servant also from willful sins. They may not rule over me. Then I will be blameless, innocent of great transgression. May these words of my mouth and this meditation of my heart be pleasing in your sight, Lord, my rock and my redeemer. I think I'll go ahead and read the pieces on the side here. The situation. David praised God for the beauty of nature. David believed that rather than inhibiting actions, God's laws pointed out shortfalls and sins. Observation. God's law helps us avoid sin and enjoy fellowship with Him. The law does not prevent enjoyment but encourages it. Above all, His law shows us great love, and His wonderful creation proves His existence. Inspiration. If only I could talk to the pilot. 30 seconds would do. Face to face. Just an explanation. He was, after all, the one bumping his wife and me from his plane. Not that I could blame him. Denalyn had picked up more than souvenirs in Hong Kong. She was so nauseous, I had to wheelchair her through the airport. She flopped onto her seat and pillowed her head against the window, and I promised to leave her alone for the 14-hour flight. I had a simple goal: get Denalyn on the plane. The airplane staff had an opposite one: get Denalyn off. I downplayed Denalyn's condition. Give us one barf bag and we're happy travelers. No one laughed. Apparently, bug-bearing patrons compete with terrorists for the title most unwanted passenger. The virus word reached the pilot and the pilot rendered his verdict. Not on my plane. You must leave, his bouncer informed matter-of-factly. Says who? The pilot. I leaned sideways and looked down the aisle for the man in charge, but the cockpit door was closed. Coward. If only I could talk to him, present my side. We didn't deserve banishment. We pay our taxes. We vote in primaries, tip waiters. I wanted to plead my case, but the man in charge was unavailable for comment. He had a 747 to fly. 7,000 miles to navigate, and no time for us. Can you relate? You may feel similar sentiments about the pilot of the universe, God. The too busy for you commander-in-chief, the faceless skipper who passes down non-negotiable decisions. His universe hums like a Rolls Royce, but sick passengers never appear on his radar screen. Even worse, you may suspect a vacant captain's seat. How do we know a hand secures the controls? Can we assume the presence of a pilot behind the steel door? Christ weighs in decidedly on this discussion. He escorts passengers to the cockpit, enters 316 in the keypad, and unlocks the door to God. No Bible verse better expresses this nature. We ought to submit it to Webster's. Every word in the passage explains the second one. For God so loved the world. Jesus assumes what Scripture declares God is. Our universe is God's preeminent missionary. The heavens declare the glory of God. Psalm 19:1. A house implies a builder. A painting suggests a painter. Don't stars suggest a star maker? Doesn't creation imply a creator? The heavens proclaim his righteousness. Psalm 97, verse 6. Look above you. Application. Think about the things that exist and what that means about how those things came to be. What do you see in creation that makes you realize that God is a most loving and creative creator? I mean, that's pretty easy. I just look at the sky, I look at the way that certain animals are made and how they're able to adapt in their environment. You know, looking at the sea creatures alone just tells me that there's a wonderful creative creator. And just looking at how the trees, the flowers grow and how nature all works together. You know, the life cycle. When you look at different animals' life cycle and how they all play into one another, how everything, the fact that there's a such thing as the ecosystem, right? The fact that there's a system, even with sin and death, there is still order. There's still an order of things, and God is all about order. So, with that being said, is no denying that God is real. There's no denying that God is creative, that God has a purpose for everything and everyone. All right, Psalm 20. For the director of music, a psalm of David. May the Lord answer you when you are in distress. May the name of the God of Jacob protect you. May he send you help from the sanctuary and grant you support from Zion. May he remember all of your sacrifices and accept your burnt offerings. May he give you the desire of your heart and make all your plans succeed. May we shout for joy over your victory and lift up our banners in the name of our God. May the Lord grant all of your requests. Now this I know, the Lord gives victory to his anointed. He answers him from his heavenly sanctuary with the victorious power in his right hand. Some trust in chariots and some in horses, but we trust in the name of the Lord our God. They are brought to their knees and fall, but we rise up and stand firm. Lord, give victory to the King. Answer us when we call. Psalm 21. For the director of music, a psalm of David. The King rejoices in your strength, Lord. How great is his joy in the victories you give. You have granted him his heart's desire and have not withheld the request of his lips. You came to greet him with rich blessings and placed a crown of pure gold on his head. He asked you for life, and you gave it to him, length of days forever and ever. Through the victories you gave, his glory is great. You have bestowed on him splendor and majesty. Surely you have granted him unending blessings and have made him glad with the joy of your presence. For the King trusts in the Lord. Through the unfailing love of the Most High, he will not be shaken. Your right hand will lay hold on all your enemies. Your right hand will seize your foes. When you appear for battle, you will burn them up as in a blazing furnace. The Lord will swallow them up in his wrath, and his fire will consume them. You will destroy their descendants from the earth, their posterity from mankind. Though they plot evil against you and devise wicked schemes, they cannot succeed. You will make them turn their backs when you aim at them with drawn bow. Be exalted in your strength, Lord. We will sing and praise your might. Okay, so now we get to go back to Deuteronomy. And we're going to read 22 all the way to 28. Deuteronomy 22. If you see your fellow Israelites, ox or sheep straying, do not ignore it, but be sure to take it back to its owner. If they do not live near you, or if you do not know who owns it, take it home with you and keep it until they come looking for it. Then give it back. Do the same if you find their donkey or cloak or anything else they have lost. Do not ignore it. If you see your fellow Israelites' donkey or ox fallen on the road, do not ignore it. Help the owner get it to its feet. A woman must not wear men's clothing, nor a man wear women's clothing, for the Lord your God detests anyone who does this. If you come across a bird's nest beside the road, either in a tree or on the ground, and the mother is sitting on the young or on the eggs, do not take the mother with the young. You may take the young, but be sure to let the mother go, so that it may go well with you and you may have a long life. When you build a new house, make a parapet around your roof so that you may not bring the guilt of bloodshed on your house if someone falls from the roof. Do not plant two kinds of seed in your vineyard. If you do, not only the crops you plant will, but also the fruit of the vineyard will be defiled. Do not plow with an ox and a donkey yoked together. Do not wear clothes of wool and linen woven together. Make tassels on the four corners of the cloak you wear. Marriage violations. If a man takes a wife and after sleeping with her dislikes her and slanders her and gives her a bad name, saying, I married this woman, but when I approached her, I did not find proof of her virginity, then the young woman's father and mother shall bring the town elders at the gate proof that she was a virgin. Her father will say to the elders, I gave my daughter in marriage to this man, but he dislikes her. Now he has slandered her and said, I did not find your daughter to be a virgin. But here is the proof of my daughter's virginity. Then her parents shall display the cloth before the elders of the town, And the elders shall take the man and punish him. They shall fine him 100 shekels of silver and give them to the young woman's father, because this man has given an Israelite virgin a bad name. She shall continue to be his wife. He must not divorce her as long as he lives. If, however, the charge is true and no proof of the young woman's virginity can be found, she shall be brought to the door of her father's house, and there the men of her town shall stone her to death. She has done an outrageous thing in Israel by being promiscuous while still in her father's house. You must purge the evil from among you. If a man is found sleeping with another man's wife, both the man who slept with her and the woman must die. You must purge the evil from Israel. If a man happens to meet in a town a virgin pledged to be married, and he sleeps with her, you shall take both of them to the gate of that town and stone them to death. The young woman because she was in a town and did not scream for help, and the man because he violated another man's wife. You must purge the evil from among you. But if out in the country a man happens to meet a young woman pledged to be married and rapes her, only the man who has done this shall die. Do nothing to the woman. She has committed no sin deserving death. This case is like that of someone who attacks and murders a neighbor. For the man found the young woman out in the country, and though the betrothed woman screamed, there was no one to rescue her. If a man happens to meet a virgin who is not pledged to be married and rapes her, and they are discovered, he shall pay her father 50 shekels of silver. He must marry the young woman, for he has violated her. He can never divorce her as long as he lives. A man is not to marry his father's wife. He must not dishonor his father's bed. All right. I think this will be a good time to take a break. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back to continue on forward.